For several years, Suntech has been working to improve the performance of its cells under low light level conditions. This has come as a result of the fact that there's many locations where you don't just get bright sunshine, you actually get cloudy weather, or maybe high latitudes, or even just comparing the early morning and late in the day compared to the light intensity in the middle of the day. Now usually solar panel manufacturers only design their cells to work well under standard test conditions which represent bright sunshine. But the reality is most customers want to know how's their solar panel going to perform right throughout the day. And the reality is for most solar cell manufacturers, their cells don't actually perform well late in the day or under low light level conditions. Let me just explain why. Here we have a silicon wafer shown here in yellow. Now, as part of making a solar cell, what all manufacturers need to do is create an N-type layer in the top surface, as shown down the bottom here by the black. So this is what we want to create. But in trying to create an N-type layer on the top surface, we inevitably create an N-type layer that fully enshrouds the entire silicon wafer. Now, to get from here to here, what we have to do is treat the surface of the silicon wafer to remove that N-type layer from down the sides and preferably remove it from across the back. Now most manufacturers get a little bit lazy here. So most manufacturers simply stack their solar cells into a pile and put them into a plasma chamber, introduce the appropriate gases and then etch away the exposed silicon, which happens to be down the sides of the silicon wafers. So they etch away the N-type layer down both sides. The trouble is, it's not a particularly reliable process. All the wafers are slightly different dimensions and the plasma isn't particularly uniform, so it's easy to get little isolated channels of N-type that still join the top N-type layer to the bottom N-type layer, which creates a shunting path so that some of our current leaks away from the front where we want it down to the back. And this is particularly bad at low light level where our efficiency can drop very significantly as a result. So Suntech's done a lot of work in developing our new patented process that far more effectively removes not just the N-type silicon from down the sides, but also from right across the rear of the wafer. And this gives our cells what we call a very high shunt resistance, which means that our solar cells will then perform very well under low light level conditions. So for example, if our solar cells measure 16% efficiency under standard test conditions, then if you reduce the light intensity to very low levels, like on a cloudy day when the light intensity might be 1/5 the light intensity, then our solar cells will still have that 16% efficiency. In comparison, a lot of our competitors will make solar cells whose efficiency could drop by as much as half under low light level conditions.